Ever wondered how to improve your logic-building skills in programming? Well, you're not alone. The art of crafting logical structures is the backbone of effective programming. It's the secret sauce that can transform jumbled lines of code into efficient algorithms and applications. Without a strong foundation in logic building, even the most complex codes can crumble. But fret not. In this video, we are going to share with you 5 proven tips to improve your logic-building skills in programming. Tip number 1. Understanding the problem clearly. One of the most crucial steps in logic building and programming is understanding the problem you're trying to solve. It's like a traveler who needs to know his destination before he can plan his route. In the same way, before you start coding, you need to have a clear idea of what the problem is and what the desired end result should be. This understanding helps you chart a logical pathway to your solution, allowing you to avoid detours and unnecessary complexities. It's about seeing the big picture, then figuring out the details. It's about asking the right questions and knowing what the answers mean. So, before you dive into writing that first line of code, take a moment to truly understand the problem at hand. Remember, a clear understanding of the problem is the foundation for building a solid logic. Moving on to tip number 2, breaking down the problem. This approach is like taking a big, intimidating puzzle and separating it into smaller, more manageable pieces. Imagine trying to solve a 1,000-piece jigsaw all at once. It's overwhelming, isn't it? But if you separate the pieces by color or pattern, suddenly, the task seems less daunting. The same goes for programming. When faced with a complex problem, it's easy to get overwhelmed. But if you break it down into smaller parts, each part becomes a problem on its own, a problem that you can solve. This is where the magic begins. So, how do you break down a problem? Well, a good place to start is by identifying the main components of the problem. Look at the inputs, the outputs, and the processes in between. Once you have these components, you can start to tackle them one by one. For example, if you're creating a program to calculate a restaurant bill, you may break it down into calculating the cost of each item, adding tax, and then adding a tip. Each of these is a smaller problem that you can solve on its own. And once you've solved all the small problems, you've solved the big one. Remember, every big problem is just a series of smaller problems waiting to be solved. Breaking down a complex problem not only simplifies it, but also makes the logic building process much easier. Tip number 3, practicing with different types of problems. Now let's focus on the heart of logic building, which is practice. We've all heard the adage, practice makes perfect, and it couldn't be more applicable than in the world of coding. Think of your logic building skills as a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it gets. You can't expect to lift heavy weights on your first day at the gym, and similarly, you can't expect to solve complex programming problems without adequate practice. Now, when we talk about practice, we don't mean solving the same type of problem over and over again. No, we mean diversifying your problem-solving range. It's about stepping out of your comfort zone and challenging your logic muscle with varied problems. Why is this important, you ask? Well, every problem you encounter is a new opportunity to think logically. Different types of problems will require different logic paths. This variety ensures you're not just good at one thing, but you're adaptable, capable of applying your logic skills to any situation. You're building a well-rounded logic capability. Let's take an example. Imagine you're only practicing problems related to arrays. Sure, you'll become proficient in it, but what happens when you encounter a problem related to graphs or trees? You'll be at a loss. So, diversify your practice. And remember, it's not about how many problems you solve, but about the variety and complexity. Start with simple problems, gradually increase the difficulty, and finally, tackle complex problems. It's about the journey, not the destination. Also, don't shy away from problems that seem too difficult. Remember, every problem is an opportunity to learn. Even if you don't solve it, you gain a new perspective, a new approach, and that's invaluable. So, take chances, embrace challenges, and keep practicing, because the more problems you solve, the better your logic building skills will become. Practicing with a variety of problems is a great way to improve your logic building skills. So get out there, start solving, and watch your logic building skills soar. Tip number 4, learning from others. When you're immersed in the world of programming, it's easy to get caught up in your own way of thinking. But remember, there's a vast community of coders out there, each one with their own unique approach to problem solving. Tapping into this collective knowledge can be a powerful way to enhance your logic building skills. Consider studying the code of others. It's like having a window into their thought processes. You'll see how they structure their code, how they tackle complex problems, and how they debug when things go wrong. It's a chance to see different styles and methodologies, and to pick up new techniques you can incorporate into your own work. But don't just limit yourself to reading code. Engage in discussions, ask for advice, share your own solutions. The exchange of ideas can spark creativity and lead to better understanding of logic building. Learning from others can provide you with new insights and ways to build logic. Finally, tip number 5, consistent review and improvement. This is a vital practice that can't be overstated. After you've written a piece of code, don't just leave it at that. Instead, take the time to revisit it, scrutinize it, and find areas that could be better. This isn't about finding mistakes or flaws, but about seeking opportunities for growth and enhancement. The practice of consistently reviewing your own code is like a mirror that reflects your progress and areas of improvement. It's about becoming your own critic and champion. Every line of code you write is a learning opportunity, and each review session is a chance to reinforce good habits and correct bad ones. Consider this as a form of self-mentorship. You're not just coding for the moment, but you're also preparing for future challenges. And remember, the greatest programmers are not those who never make mistakes, but those who learn from them. Consistent review and improvement will not only help you spot your weak areas, but also improve your logic building skills over time. So these were our 5 proven tips to improve your logic building skills in programming. From understanding the problem clearly to breaking it down into manageable chunks, practicing with a variety of problem types, learning from others, and consistently reviewing and improving your skills. Each tip is a step on the path to becoming a more proficient programmer. Your journey doesn't end here. Implement these tips, stay persistent, and keep practicing. Remember, logic building is a skill that can be improved with practice and persistence. Happy coding!